All right, we're back to talk some Browns. Not exactly the first round draft pick that we're going to be discussing as we have for many past draft podcasts, but a monster free agency. And is there any gaps left with this team? Eric, let's go to you first here. Who are your two players you think are going to be the most impactful free agency pickups for the Browns?
Well, first, I'm going to start off with the biggest hole for the team that I see is Dalvin Tomlinson at defensive tackle. Signed a 4-year, $57 million contract. He's 29 years old, so this could potentially be his last valuable contract in the NFL. He's averaging 3 sacks a year and about 40 tackles. He's good in a category known as the run stop win rate, which I had never heard of, but we were not good at stopping the run last year. So I'm hoping that means he will improve in that area. I expect him to be the best defensive tackle on the team. Not a high bar to clear, but that's something that was in need. I hope that they can further address that in the draft, but nonetheless, I'll take Dalvin Tomlinson at defensive tackle. The second person I would go with would probably be a trade, actually. I'm going to go with Elijah Moore. And I look for his upside more than anything. He's in his third year of his rookie deal, just finished his second season after playing with the Jets, 23 years old. Could propel him to a pretty sizable second contract if he plays well. And I think the Browns are hoping that he is everything Anthony Schwartz clearly is not. A speedy, reliable, down the field option that Watson can find on a consistent basis. I'm hoping the environment here would be better than what was that he was used to with Joe Flacco and Zach Wilson last season. He's only averaging 3 touchdowns a year and 40 catches. And I expect that to continue with a much better passing offense and a much better quarterback in the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, Elijah Moore was a good pickup. I was worried about the wide receivers as we look at some of his highlights here with the Jets. Aaron Rodgers being signed to the Jets here. They made that trade final this week. I think Elijah Moore, it's exciting. Needed someone at wide receiver. I don't know if the Browns are going to pick up anyone at the wide receiver position during the draft. I'm sure we'll probably take a look at someone a little bit later on as the draft goes on. We start in the third round. But Drew, would you still look at the wide receiver position? Is there any other position group that you would look at that the Browns still need to address?
Yeah, I mean, as far as position groups go, certainly defensive line, the Browns, to Eric's point, have some decided weaknesses there. It's funny, that you bring up Elijah Moore for the wide receivers getting into the NFL draft. I was big on him coming out of Mississippi 3 years ago. I thought he was going to be a really good player, and he has shown some flashes of that with the Jets, but really hoping he can become the type of player I thought he might be back in that 2020 draft class. I thought he was going to be a really good player, really good speedy type receiver, and I think he'll work into that number 2 role here for the Browns. And I'm really excited to see it's some actual NFL caliber wide receivers. At least being able to have 3 of them on the field would be a huge upgrade from what the Browns had last year, when they really only had 2 viable NFL players at that position. So certainly still some need at wide receiver. I don't see that being a big strength of the draft. You're looking, especially when you compare it to rounds or years past, I should say, you might not have 4 wide receivers in the first round this year. I would take the under on that. I think you're probably only going to see 2, maybe 3 in the first round. You saw 4 in the top 10, I want to say, last year. So definitely not a strength of the class. In terms of the class strength that I'm seeing, it appears to be edge rusher, which could be helpful. The Browns certainly could use some help there. They have some reason to have some hope that they'll find a decent player outside of Miles between draft from the previous year and Okinawa, whatever his name was, from the free agent class, but could use another player there for sure. In terms of the big name that I hope is somehow available, although I doubt that after his combine, I hope somehow, some way, Jack Campbell, the middle linebacker from Iowa, finds himself there in the pick 50 type range when it becomes viable for the Browns to go up and get an actual impact defender. I think he's one of the last players that might be on that board. But I say that the draft is exceptionally weak at linebacker this year as well. So if somebody wants that position, that is not normally like a sexy sort of a position to pick in the first round, but come second round, I imagine he'll be off the board. But that's sort of my hope. If you're looking for a name to drop, hope you don't hear Jack Campbell called for much of that second round. If you're looking for a position to target, I'd be looking at defensive end in that somewhere in that third round for the Browns.
Eric, I don't even know what my viewing is going to be for the Browns. Like I go back, like I was pulling up here, the Macho Man appearance in Cleveland for the Browns, and just how watchable this draft was, how fun it was to actually attend this draft. And I don't know, like I guess I'm still going to watch the draft on Thursday night just to see what happens to CJ Stroud, see what happens to the quarterbacks, who the big players that are taken off the board. But I don't know, is this a phone only draft for you, Eric, or are you going to spend some time watching?
I'll probably watch some of it on Thursday night. I don't think I'm going to be staying up to try to watch all 32 picks on Thursday night. Friday night, fortunately, we don't have work. It's the weekend on Friday night, so I don't think that I know I sound really old, by the way. But I think our first pick is going to be pretty late, being in the middle half of the third round. But I like to see our first two picks of the draft. I'm hoping I need that Schadenfreude, I guess is how you want to say it, is other teams making mistakes. Hopefully the teams in the AFC North, we got the Lamar Jackson situation. What are they going to do there? Are they going to reach for a quarterback? Who knows? That might be a reach to assume, but we have that. We have the Aaron Rodgers trade. So obviously not everything's going to be directly impacting the Browns, but it should be entertaining. Being alumni of Ohio State, there's going to be a lot of Buckeyes being drafted. I hope they all do well, unless of course they go to an AFC North team. That's not the Browns. But yeah, it's not going to be as crazy as the Bo Bell year of 2008, where we did not have a first, second, or third round pick. But but I won't be all excited as I was in 2018 with the Baker Mayfield, Denzel Ward 1 and 4 picks, and then Nick Chubb coming right back in the second round. So not as many picks. I mean, we'll see. I don't expect Andrew Berry to trade up, to just be laying in bed and get a notification that, hey, an hour or two earlier than expected, we're going to be drafting a person. But
I very much expect them to trade up, for what it's worth. I very much think they will. They have 8 picks this year. I don't think they have roster spots for 8 players. Andrew Berry hates to release and get rid of any of his draft picks. He's never done it in his 3 years here. That will have to change by necessity this offseason. But they don't have a roster spot for 8 rookies this year. So I do expect them to be active in the trade up, but they're not going to be involved in that until you get into that pick number 50 type range. That's when they have some ammo that they could, in fact, go up and get somebody.
Yeah, I think I'll be watching for CJ Stroud, see what the quarterbacks do, see what the Buckeyes do. And it's the NFL draft, so there's always going to be something that happens, and it's going to be worth watching. So we'll be tuning in.
Go Buckeyes.
Go Browns.